So what, we get drunk. So what, we don't sleep. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what, we go out. We get a lighter, that's how it's supposed to be. Living young and wild and free. Yeah, roll one, smoke one. When you live like this, you're supposed to party. Roll one, smoke one. And we all just having fun, so we just roll one, smoke one. When you live like this, you're supposed to party.
This is an example of what parental substance abuse can look like. What might seem like a normal trip to the ABC store to buy alcohol can be a nightmare for a kid who grew up with substance abusing parents. I'm sure you all know that the song in the introduction was Young, Wild, and Free by Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg. However, living young, wild, and free as a parent should not be something that they do on a day-to-day basis. Hey, my name is Kailey Furr, and I'm going to be talking about the impacts parental substance abuse has on children. Did you know that more than 8 million young people in the United States and over 4.5 million people in Europe grow up in homes with at least one parent who abuses alcohol and or illegal drugs? According to NSPCC, substance misuse is a long-term misuse of drugs and or alcohol by a parent or carer. This includes parents and carers who consume harmful amounts of alcohol, for example, if their drinking is leading to alcohol-related health problems or accidents, are dependent on alcohol, use drugs regularly and excessively, and are dependent on drugs. It also includes parents who aren't able to supervise their children appropriately because of their substance use. The sources I use focus on child neglect, the child's vulnerability to mental disorders, and the child's potential future addictions. According to Child Protective Services, there are estimates that suggest that 50 to 80% of all child abuse and neglect cases involve some degree of substance abuse by the child's parents. There are various harmful side effects of substance abuse within parents that further lead to disorders including anxiety, depression, eating disorders, schizophrenia, and more. Parent substance abuse are significant predictors of mental disorders and harmful substance use in children aged 13 to 17 years. Children whose parents abuse substances tend to struggle with long-term mental health issues, which can negatively impact the type of parent they become to children of their own. These children can be considered at risk for developing a substance use disorder themselves. A child looks up to their parents, and when it is normal at home for substances to be abused, the child can grow up to believe that this behavior is acceptable or normal. Children can also turn to substances because of the trauma they have faced due to having substance abusing parents. While the sources I used did include great consequences of what parental substance abuse does to children, none of the sources included how the child's social life or learning ability is impacted. Children with substance abusing parents tend to have a hard time making or keeping friends. This is because these kids' relationships are sometimes strictly in school. When a kid's parents are always intoxicated, it can be hard to have a friend's parents trust that their house is a safe environment. Some will argue that the kid can just go to their friend's house instead. But how are they supposed to get there? Surely they ain't dependent on the kid's drunk parents to take them. Along with not being able to hang out with friends like other kids, these children also do not have the same opportunities. Opportunities such as extracurricular activities, including after-school sports or clubs. The reason for this is because if their parents are consistently under the influence, they have no form of transportation. Along with kids not being able to make friends easy, they also have trouble learning in school. Anger and aggression is often brought out of adults who abuse substances. The anger and aggression often forms arguments, and when kids are exposed to violence, anxiety is likely to arise within them, resulting in sleepless nights. With so much going on at home, these kids come to school unfocused and distracted. They're not worried about y equals mx plus b or when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. They're worried about what's coming next when they get home. This is an example of what a kid might be thinking of while taking a test. The last clip shows that the boy made a bad grade. This is a result of unnecessary distractions and a lack of help from home. Finally, kids who grow up with substance abusing parents are likely to form their own addictions down the road. If the kid does form their own addiction, they will also be subjects of parental substance abuse, and in this case, the issue will continue throughout each generation.
So what, we get drunk. So what, we don't sleep. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what, we go out.
So in the end, it is important for parents to realize the detrimental effects that their addictions have on their children. I believe that every parent who is addicted or anyone who is considering starting should reckon with the effects that it has on other people. When children are exposed to substance abuse, they are vulnerable to inevitable mental illnesses and are likely to explore substances as well. In this case, a long line of addiction is forming.